If you're not from Canada, listen up, because I'm going to tell you about a restaurant called Tim Hortons. If you are from Canada, listen anyway, and make sure I'm on point about all this, because you're the experts. Like most Americans, I've never been to one, but here's what I can gather. Tim Hortons is most known for their coffee. They're first and foremost a coffee establishment. That's how they started, and that's how they're perceived today. But you can't get that big just selling coffee. They also sell tea. And they sell donuts and muffins, bagels, soup, sandwiches. Their menu is pretty extensive. Most of what you would expect from a fast food place. It's hard for me to come up with an American equivalent. The major coffee establishments are Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, which I suppose would be the closest, but Tim Hortons offers a wider variety of foods. Something neat that they've been doing for over 30 years is called Roll Up the Rim. It gives customers a chance to win prizes with every cup of coffee they purchase. The customer simply rolls up the rim of the cup to expose writing that tells whether they won or not. Some of the prizes are big, like cars and televisions, but most winning participants end up with a free coffee or donut or something like that. To me, this is a great promotion. It's very simple to execute. It gives customers further incentive to buy the coffee, and it involves an exciting reveal when rolling up that rim. The customer walks away with a positive experience, even if they didn't win, and Tim Hortons theoretically sells more coffee. There's even several articles out there that are just dedicated to calculating the odds of winning. I guess it's different odds in different regions, but just know that when this contest starts, it's a big deal. I initially thought it went on year-round, but apparently it's only around February, but also in July of 2017 to celebrate Canada's 150 years.
We're celebrating Canada's 150th with a special limited edition Roll Up the Rim.
And that's because the restaurant is massive in Canada. Going by number of locations, they're the biggest restaurant chain in the whole country. Bigger than McDonald's, bigger than Burger King, Carl's Jr., all of them, much bigger in fact. Here's some facts I pulled from their website to illustrate this. They serve more than 2 billion cups of coffee per year. They serve almost 8 of every 10 cups of coffee sold in Canada. Their Facebook page has more Canadian fans than any other brand page in Canada. And 15% of all Canadians visit Tim Hortons every day. Oh, and I've been saying this name, Tim Horton, the entire time. It's obviously the name of a person, but who is it? Well, he's the founder of the restaurant, but he's also a famous hockey player. If that doesn't prove how Canadian this company is, I don't know what will. Tim Horton played in the NHL for 24 seasons up until his death from a car crash in 1974, but his name lives on through these restaurants. 10 years before his death, the first Tim Hortons was opened in Ontario, Canada. The website states how it only cost 10 cents for a coffee or donut at the time, but I'm not amused by this. I know how inflation works. I don't mean to single out Tim Hortons because everyone does it, and it's pointless every time. Everyone stopped saying how much things cost a long time ago. I know it sounds crazy for today, but it's usually very much the typical rate at the time. Just let it go. Anyway, Tim Hortons has basically conquered Canada. All Canadians know the name, and I'm pretty sure most of them see it in a positive light. So where does the company go from here? The logical next step seems to be expanding into the United States. You know, the massive fast food market that's just south of the market they conquered. And Tim Hortons agrees with me. They've started the process. They started it long ago. The first Tim Hortons in the United States opened in 1985. In 1995, they made a huge move to help further expand into the United States. They merged with Wendy's. In the mid-2000s, Wendy's spun off the shares to investors, meaning Wendy's ended their involvement and Tim Hortons was now owned by the public through the stock market. But in 2014, Tim Hortons made the biggest move to date. They joined forces with Burger King. Burger King bought Tim Hortons, and the two formed a parent company called Restaurant Brands International. Probably the least imaginative or catchy name I've ever heard. Restaurant Brands International encompasses Tim Hortons, Burger King, and now Popeyes as well. It's trading on the New York Stock Exchange, stock symbol QSR. Go look it up, it's been doing very well. If you believe in Tim Hortons or the other two restaurants, you may want to invest. So Tim Hortons started their expansion into the United States over 30 years ago, and have made some massive moves that were heavily motivated by the idea of expansion. Yet their presence in the US is still nowhere near that of Canada. I wanted to know how many locations they have in the United States compared to Canada, because, well, that certainly seems like something that would be useful right here. But it's hard to get a clear answer. This is from their website, and says they have 4,590 total locations, including 3,665 in Canada and 869 in the United States. This is straight from the source, so let's use these numbers for a second. That means that there are more than 4 times more locations in Canada than the United States. And also factoring in the fact that the US has about 9 times the population of Canada, this means that Canada has a Tim Hortons every 10,000 people, while the US has one for every 370,000 people. So yeah, much bigger in Canada. But for some reason, this information that's currently on their website is from September 28th of 2014. Which is before the whole Burger King thing even happened, so I'm not sure why they would have such outdated information on their site. So then I looked at their annual report, their 10K from 2016 for Restaurant Brands International, to get some more current information. And here it states 4,613 total locations at the end of 2016, but only 4,258 at the end of 2014, which is far less than the website said they had in September of that year. And to further complicate the issue, I found an article from Alexandra Sagan of the Canadian Press that states that the US locations at the end of 2016 were only 683, which is more than 200 fewer than their website states they had in 2014. But their 10K shows more locations opening each year overall. This is all conflicting. The most significant amount of store closings I could find were 21 US locations in November of 2015, but something just isn't adding up. I think possibly those numbers from their website were a little inflated. If that were the case, everything would add up a little better, I suppose. I doubt I uncovered a huge conspiracy here, but something seems off. Let me know in the comments if you can make any more sense of all this. But those numbers from the website are the ones that reflect the best on their US presence, and even those aren't impressive. So the real question is whether or not they can make that transition to the United States. Obviously it would be near impossible for them to reach the same level they've reached in Canada, but it's within reason that they could become a significant name in the fast food industry and recognizable to most Americans. Yet they haven't done it. 30 years of trying, mergers with massive American restaurants, and it hasn't happened. For these reasons it seems unlikely, but there are things that point towards success. In that recent 10K form I mentioned, under their business strategy, they state as their #1 bullet point, accelerate global growth. We believe there is an attractive opportunity to grow the Tim Hortons and Burger King brands around the world by expanding our presence in existing markets and entering new markets where the brands are not present today. This shows me that despite their past failure, they're keeping at it. It's still that logical next step, and no matter how slowly it happens, they're not going to give up. And they have been doing it slowly. In 32 years, they've gone from 0 locations to, let's say 600 to 900 locations. And let's not forget that they have Burger King and Popeyes that want them to succeed, and can provide valuable resources, in addition to their own resources that they've grown through their success in Canada. Expanding into the United States in a big way is a huge task, but Tim Hortons is in a good position to strike. On the negative end, there's already similar restaurants, like I said before, Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts, and there's fast food giants that are also competitors, McDonald's, Jack in the Box, and strangely enough, even Burger King. But Tim Hortons isn't identical to these other places and does offer some things that the others don't. The Roll Up the Rim contest, their signature coffee, which only 3 people know the recipe to, by the way, and a menu that's a little different from the others. My guess is that Tim Hortons will emerge slowly, just like it's been doing. It'll take some time for that name to catch on, but they'll slowly establish themselves. Let's not forget, they've done it once already in Canada, and now it's time to do it on a larger scale. And you may be watching this video sometime in the future laughing about how this was made at a time when most Americans didn't even know the name Tim Hortons. Oh, and also for the people watching in the future, a cup of coffee costs about $2 at Tim Hortons right now. Thought you might find that funny. Let me know in the comments whether or not you think they'll succeed in the US, and if so, to what extent. And if you're from Canada, let me know how accurate I was throughout this video. I'd like to hear what you have to say. Thank you for watching.